In this module, we explore how technology can help and support the teaching of reading. We will first hear Professor Carol Chappell introduce the connection between technology and text today. Then, we'll meet a reading expert, Professor Tammy Slater, a professor at Iowa State University. Professor Chappell will ask Professor Slater to talk about why reading is important for students, what teachers should know about reading, and provide some advice for teachers. Finally, we will look at how technology can help.
Let's begin by looking at the connection between technology and text today. Technology provides access to many different materials for students to read today. For example, in the Voice of America website, students can access stories about the current events. Here's an example of a page from Voice of America, which has a number of different news stories that students and teachers can read and discuss. This particular page appeared shortly after the U.S. presidential election, and it talks about the biggest picture there is about President Obama's trip to Europe. But there are others about all different things that are happening around the world. As you can see in this example, each of the stories that appears on the Voice of America webpage has written text about the story that students can read and discuss. Because technology provides access to so many different materials for students to read, teachers can select texts from the internet for their students to read. We have two more examples of texts from the internet, and again, these come from the U.S. government website, American English. Two examples. One is called For Friends, ages 13 and 16, and the second is The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. These two examples can be found at the American English website that all teachers and students have access to around the world. On that site, there's a number of resources for teachers, and in that middle section that's called Resources is where I found the two example texts. Click on Resources, I'd find a lot of choices of things to read. One example is American Teens Talk. This is a collection of readings that's based on interviews of American high school students in both written and audio format. Each interview is accompanied by vocabulary notes and discussion questions, so it's a very useful tool for teaching reading. Here's an example of what one of the interviews looks like from this section of the text, For Friends, ages 13 and 14. The students are pictured there. Those are the four students who are friends, and they're asked a number of questions such as, what have you been doing this week? Why are you making videos? What are you doing in school this week? So that the students can read about what American students are doing. Under Resources, I found the texts of The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Huckleberry Finn is an American classic that has been simplified in this version so that students are able to read it. The texts are available on the website chapter by chapter so that they can be downloaded and used in class. With these types of texts available to students and teachers all over the world, one can imagine a teacher in Africa looking on the website, finding a chapter of Huckleberry Finn, and planning to use it as part of her teaching materials for the day. That same teacher in Africa might choose the simplified version of Huck Finn from the American English website, but she also might go to another website. There's one called the Gutenberg Project that collects books that have been written and used and enjoyed for many, many years, all in one website for users to read. Those two websites are just two of the hundreds and thousands of websites available that have reading materials that might be used for reading classes. With this wealth of opportunity for reading in English, we need to ask, what should a teacher do? What should a teacher choose?